Hey, it's Mac with PriceActionTradingSystem.com. It is Monday. It's August 28th, and this will be our chart lesson for today. And it was a really brutal day. I mean, there just weren't any setups. We're going sideways in the channel. We had a little failed break lower here, and then we just went in a tighter channel the last hour or so of the day, a couple hours actually of the day. And But in the end, this is just a range day. You can see most of your highs were across this 24.44, and most of your lows were right in this area. We actually broke a little bit lower. I really was hoping we'd get a measured leg down like this one once we started down, but um, once we started lower, that's what I would be looking for. I'd measure it from there. And you can see we came close. I mean, we came within a tick or so, but then we just got back within, inside that price action, and that's where we finished the day, back in that range. So, but that's pretty close to a measured leg. I would measure that and then measure down from that highest point, and you can see we missed it by a tick or two. You might also have a secondary measurement of right here and measure from there, and we maybe missed that. That would have put you down here to the overnight lows, and that's really where I was hoping we would go, but we didn't quite get there. So, but typically, this was really your first leg down, and then that would be your second leg down from there. So, and we got, like I said, we got within a point of that one, so not too bad. But there just weren't any trades, so um, you might have actually considered a green one here, just like I've got a green one up there. I'll go ahead and put it there. We'll talk about it because there just wasn't much happening. But we're mostly going sideways here. But when I came in, we were trending up. You just couldn't find anywhere to enter on the way up, so you never got an entry. And when you're this far away from the EMA, you're coming back soon. And notice what happens. You kind of get that little doji right there, and then you push above it, and then you get that kind of reversal type bar right there. It didn't quite close on its low, but that's close enough. It's a little aggressive because it could push down a tick and then push back up and then go down, and that happens sometimes. But when you're that far away from the EMA and you've done nothing but move straight up, you're coming back most likely. So you might want to risk that one. And notice you don't really get a good reversal pattern here. You get a first entry long, and then it just pushes right on through, and you never really get that second entry long for a chance until here, of course. But still, even though you might have noticed there's a leg up, a correction, another leg up, so that's really there's a hidden second entry right there, but this is more sideways. And so you could have treated that like a failed break higher, and that's a fairly bearish bar, but it still didn't break lower until here. So, and this is a lower high with another bearish bar. So your entry ends up being here no matter, otherwise you might could say there's an entry here and then the better entry here. But either way, you don't enter till here. And on this chart, it's a first entry, even though there's but you could treat that like a failed break higher and then a lower high right there. And you got enough room to get out before that low. It didn't matter, it went a little bit lower. And then it looks like, hey, maybe we're going to reverse here. And it comes back up and it finds resistance back up here in that same location. I originally had this a little bit lower, and you could still play it right there. It doesn't really change anything. And you get a little failed break higher, but you don't really get a good setup here. It comes back and touches here, and so you might consider entering right there, but I still think you need a little break higher, which comes here, and then you don't have a whole lot of room back to these lows. So the problem here is you may have to let it break lower and drop a limit order just to get enough, to make sure you got enough ticks to get out before this low here. I'd really want to get out before this close right here. So if you couldn't do that, you can't enter there. And then finally you get the break, and you get this is really your failed second entry long. And notice how it went higher there and then turns and goes out the other side. I like going short there. Again, you got to have enough room to get out. So what you might do is wait on this and let that be your signal bar and let it break lower, and then drop your limit order a tick or two back in that, and you could have gotten filled at least a tick back into that, maybe 2 ticks back into that bar, and that would have been a nice move down. And I also, at that point, I would have measured this leg. The more recent legs a lot of times will be the more accurate ones, and that would have given you a pretty good target right there. You would have gotten out within 3 or 4 ticks of the low by using that target. So and then it bounces, and again, you're not quite as far away from the EMA here as you were back up here, but it's a similar type deal. Notice how we start going sideways and you make that little drop that traps everybody. You know, nobody wants to get short until they think they see it going shorter, and that always traps them. They're always too late. This is too late, too far away from the EMA. Your better entries are going to be up near the EMA, unless you're going long into it. But when you're going short, you want to be pulled back to it, like in this area right here. And this is maybe a good example. If you went short here, 1, 2, 3, 4, you still would have had a 4-tick failure, but obviously you don't want to take that. It's not a real good signal bar, but there's a shorter term trend line right there, and you don't want to be going short on that. So you want to wait for a lower high. You get a lower high here, it's too neutral, too bullish to neutral on my chart. Somebody else sent me their chart, and I think they got trapped there and went short. I can't remember exactly what their chart looked like, but it didn't look like mine. So this is I'm more apt to go long here because this is a breakout short, and on the long, it would have worked, but you would have had to ride this whole thing out. The only thing you could do is let it break higher, and again, maybe try to get a little better entry with a limit order or something. But if you went long there on the stop, you had to ride this forever before you could get out. And you would have ended up getting out. We did trade up into this, and notice when it continued on. But I don't think you'd want to hold that through all of this to try to get a scalp out of it. So, and even if you held on with a runner, you wouldn't have got very much. So, again, I made this one green simply because what you want to see it do is get back on the support side in that hold, more like this bar right here. You really don't really get a good setup because by that time you got a lot of resistance across there. But as long as you're still you're on the underside of this trying to get through, then there's still a question, and that's still acting as resistance, and you got to be careful going long into it. So that's the reason I made that one green. Otherwise, I generally is a very reliable setup that you want to take on a reversal. But this isn't necessarily a reversal. Even though that's a reversal type pattern, we're going sideways here, and that's a failed break lower. So that's not necessarily a reversal. You probably want to assume you're headed to the high, back to the high side, which is where we end up. But the fact that we were below the support resistance line and it's acting as resistance, that just makes me very hesitant to go long into that, because this is what you get stuck in. And even though it would have worked and you wouldn't have got stopped out with your stop going where it's supposed to be, who wants to sit there stuck in that all for an hour or more? Not me. A couple hours almost. So and that was really the last thing I saw for the day that would have even semi-interested me in an entry. So we got two entries I like, and we got about 3 others that are maybes. And other than that, you just wasted your time sitting here all day. And unfortunately, that's part of the process that we have to go through sometimes. But anyway, there's not much else we can say about today. It just wasn't a very good day. But I'm going to read you I got a couple of emails here. I'm going to pause it and I'm going to find them and I'll read them to you. Okay, here's one email. I'm going to read the email first, and here's his results. Hi, Mac. Please find my attached paper trade results so far this morning. I've still got plenty left to learn, but it's nice to see some results based on strategy and not be a gambling, guessing mentality. And that's the key to all of this. Anytime you're guessing, you're gambling. So if you're unsure, if you're reading the price action right and where prices are headed, don't enter a trade because you're just taking it, you're just throwing the dice out there and rolling them on a gamble, and gamblers don't do well in this business. So I know you've heard me say that if you've been following me any time at all. And so very good job here. Looks like he went long. $125 went long. $251 went short. $251 went short. $251. So pretty good day. I believe I'm reading that right. Long flat, short flat. Yeah, short flat. Okay, there you go. But yeah, of course this is sim, but you know, if you can do it on the simulator, you can do it live. So that's the thing I try to remind people. But nice job there. Had a couple more I wanted to read, and then we'll wrap today up. Okay, here's another email I got. This one I got a week or so ago. I just hadn't had a chance to read it yet. Hi, Mac. I just wanted to share with you a success story. As I know you mentioned on the videos, you don't get too many of them. I am a real slow learner when it comes to trading, and pretty much every mistake it was possible to make along the road, I did. I started nearly 10 years ago, went live too soon, lost a ton of money, paid others to trade for me, lost a ton more money, went through every emotion you could possibly go through. It was pretty horrible there for a while. A few years ago, I bought your mail and decided that I was going to sim trade for as long as it took and learn this thing. I knuckled down, traded whenever I could. My other careers were taking off, so I had a lot less time and tried my best to learn on the side. It was really hard at first. I never saw what you say and kept making silly mistakes. My psychology was all over the place, and once a couple of losses sent me on a tilt. Did I read that right? And one or two to a couple of losses sent me on a tilt. Anyway, but I did stick at it, and whenever I had time, I traded, then watched some of your lessons at the end of the day and studied my charts. Only recently has it finally begun to click. I'm enclosing a snapshot of my Ninja Trader report, which shows 15 winners in a row. The only loser is a couple of ticks. I know I still have a long way to go. After all this time, I don't even dare go live yet, and I know that'll bring another learning curve. But thanks to you, I see the chart clearer than ever before. After countless hours watching hundreds of your videos, I now pretty much know what you are going to say at the end of the day on the video about each setup, and that is a good feeling. I don't kid myself. I know I have a long way to go, and it's been a slow journey, but I couldn't have dreamed of a winning streak like this when I first started. While I love the winners, I'm most happy when I see a setup that doesn't look quite right for me. Usually the ones that you say on the video, I think you're better off passing that one, and I pass it. Limiting losses makes me happier than scoring wins. I really just want to thank you as a great teacher, man, in Field, usually filled with snake oil sales and for any newcomers. Anyway, I'm not going to read the rest of it. I'm not, this isn't to pat me on the back. It's just to show you that others can have success. And it looks like he had 15 trades, win percentage of 93.75, 15 winners, 1 losers. Very good. So, I mean, there's another success story. And I got one more. I'm going to pause it and find. This one's short and sweet. Just says, "Good morning, Mike. Hope all is well. I wanted to cue you in on my results so far on the simulator. Today I doubled a 5K account. I plan to triple before going live, but overall I'm getting it. Here's a screenshot." And he sends me a screenshot. And one thing he's doing is he's not trying to reach a target each day. It says, "I just trade all the best setups between 9:30 and 3 Eastern time. And whatever I finish the day with is then my result." So this is pretty good. It's not like he's getting his 2 or 3 trades every day and then quitting. He continues to trade all day. So he's obviously doing a good job of filtering his trades and picking out the good ones and skipping the bad ones. He had looks like 2 small losses here and mostly winning days. So that's great. How many days is this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. 18 days worth of data there. And he had 2 losing days. One day he lost $12.50. The other day he lost $50, and his win days ranged anywhere. He had one or two small ones like $25 or $50, but several of them near 450, 487, 825, 900. The further down you get, the better they're getting. 400, 150, 825, 900, 600. Early on, though, he had some smaller days here, 150, 100, 137.50. But then he really takes off during the month of August, um, probably on averaging $400 or $500 a day in August. So very good there as well. So there it is. You can see there's other people that, and you can tell by these people's emails that they don't get this overnight. This is impossible to learn quickly. So make sure you understand that's why most people fail at this, because they have unreal expectations. You can make more money as a trader in less time with less stress than any other profession I know. And so any profession that's worth doing that you can make money like that takes years and years of education and then years of experience and lots of invested money and time. And trading's no different. The only good thing about it is now the simulator works just like the real one, so you don't have to invest all the money. Yeah, there will be another learning curve when you go from simulator to live. Expect that. But it's a whole lot easier than going straight to live and trying to learn all this on a real dime. Most people go broke. That's the reason most people don't last very long, because they try to trade right away and they go broke. At least now you can learn without spending all that money. And then when you do go live, you're miles ahead of where you would have been if you just started trying to trade live. So I hope that makes sense, but I'm not going to drag it out any longer today. There wasn't much happening, but so I thought I would read those emails since I had a little extra time. But I'm going to wrap it up. We'll be back again to do it tomorrow. This is Matt with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and we'll see you next time.